Former manager made my life hell and I finally got her fired, by user Trevelyan Gabk. I was desperate to join a new job after my husband and I were both laid off last year. When I was offered a new role, I knew it would be a step down from what I was doing, but the manager and the team seemed great, and that part has not changed. However, since my manager Gary was so busy, he basically offloaded me to another manager, Jane Starr. I was supposed to be the connection point between my team and Jane, but it quickly became Jane micromanaging me. She would ask me to work through lunch, move/cancel vacation days, call at 11 p.m. on weekends, and order me around on phone calls. She also made nasty comments about my weight and said I was big for my race. The list of personal slights so long that it filled 3 pages. I would talk back to her and she did not like that, and that provoked her more. I only stayed because we needed to pay the bills. Finally, I had a mental breakdown on a Friday afternoon, after she yelled at me for something trivial about scheduling a meeting without including someone from her team who I didn't know about. I was dealing with a family tragedy and couldn't take it anymore. I told Gary about the situation with Jane and he was sympathetic and not at all surprised considering half her team quit. He immediately offered to move me to a different team under him. I was thrilled. Well, turns out going to the new team didn't help. Jane continued to order me around from afar. When I ignored her emails, she came to my desk one day and started loudly talking about how I am not qualified for this role. Gary overheard and finally told her off, but the verbal abuse did not stop. After 2 months there, I abruptly wrote my resignation letter and stapled the list of Jane's offensive comments, and CC'd everyone. Gary offered a bunch of accommodations to try to keep me, but seeing how she was still provoking from afar, I said the only way for me to stay would be for her to go and he did not have authority to let her go. Her manager was in a different country and despite several HR complaints from at least 5 people, nothing was done. So I left, loudly and without shame, telling everyone exactly why I was leaving. Times were very bad for 3 months. There were nights we would eat slices of bread just so we could pay the mortgage and emergency expenses from a health crisis and a funeral. Even after he found a job, we were still catching up on bills and still are. I spent months applying to 5 to 10 roles per day, sometimes over 20. Last month, I saw a public memo about a big shot from a former company joining the company I just left. I used to work with this guy closely and texted him, "Hey, congrats, let me know if you need any insights on the new place." We had a quick call where I told him some ins and outs, where I thought they could innovate. After this call, he asked me to join the team as his chief of staff. I accepted. Imagine Jane's shock when we had our first all-hands call. All the VPs and above were asked to welcome the new big shot in a giant conference room. In Big Shot's speech, he breezed over that I'll be his chief of staff, along with a few key names. I now sat 2 levels above Jane and apparently, within the 3 months I was not there, the other half of her team turned over. Every single person left. Gary was excited for me and said all nice things. However, Jane took the classless route and sent Big Shot an email about how I'm an unqualified idiot, that I used to work for her, how I tried to get her fired, and that she suspects I lied to get ahead. She didn't even try to be fake nice. Big Shot forwarded me her email and asked what this was about. I was so nervous and excited. Little did Jane know, I was a director at Big Shot's competitor company and was already a level above her, so 2 levels isn't a big leap, and I worked with him for 5 years. I had an hour call with Big Shot and told him she was bad for the company culture and was a nasty person in general, but the evidence he needed was Gary confirming that her whole team has turned over, my prior resignation letter which was still sitting on my desktop when I logged in upon return, and a few other nasty emails she sent her recent staff, which they were happy to share with us. Big Shot fired Jane on Friday. How I got my boss's job and my co-workers a 15% rise, by user throwaway I5433. Hey Reddit, I can finally share my story because now it is all over. I am on mobile, also English isn't my mother language. And this is my first post ever on Reddit, so PLS be gentle, haha. And sorry for the long post. To the backstory. This all happened in an EU country, I don't say which one, sorry. I did my apprenticeship in a mid to big size factory as a machine operator. After I completed my apprenticeship I worked in the production for around 1 month. Then I got called into the office and they asked me if I can do some holiday replacement, so I said yes, why not, better hours and clean work. I got teached the systems, which was pretty easy because I manufactured those parts for 1 year. After my coworker came back from their vacation they asked me to stay and became a part of their team, so I said yes, sounds good. So I was now working in the sales/quality department. Now to the present time, 7 years later. Our team increased from 5 worker to 15 because of restructuring, which helped us a lot. My boss retired last fall. And after Christmas we got a new young boss around my age, 27, who was a major asshole and sexist. We got a few weeks before him a new hire, a lovely young girl, age 19, which I trained her. If you are new you are doing some error, which is totally fine in my opinion. So I come in last Tuesday to hear my new boss screaming like a maniac at this young girl. I asked her what happened and she said she filled the wrong form, which happens even to me. My boss noticed it and screamed at her. I paraphrase it. Boss, you stupid little slut, who dumb can you be to fill out the wrong form? I should fire you and make sure that you never find any work in this field again. Coworker started crying at this point. Then my boss stormed into his office and slammed the door shut. I asked my coworker if she's okay and she was still sobbing, so I brought her a coffee and took her to our office. Grandma, everyone loves here so much. I was at this point pretty pissed and told everyone what happened. After they learned what he did to our new coworker, 3 stormed into his office and quit after 25 years in this company. MX boss said to them that they are worthless and overpaid. They told us that a plan was formed, everyone will quit except for me for now. What my boss didn't know yet is we had a huge customer audit happening in 3 weeks, which I am the only certified to prepare for. If we fail this, it would cost us 15 to 20 million euros and the customer would pull the contract. So after my boss learned that the whole department quit except for me, he was even more pissed. Boss, hey, why the hell did everyone quit? Me, maybe because you are asshole and a sexist pig? Boss, what did you just say, you asshole? Me, you know what I said, and do you remember the big audit in 3 weeks by customer X? Boss, yeah, what's about that? Me, you know that I am the only one certified to prepare it, right? Boss, yeah, and? Me, I quit Oswell because I do not want to work for such a asshole boss. CA. And walked right out to my other co-workers to say goodbye in the whole factory. The production VP noticed it and asked what happened, so I told him and he was pissed. He called the CEO, which I knew pretty well, and said, Robert, the shit hit the fan big time, come down to the production floor now. The CEO asked if it's important and the VP said, if you want to pass the audit in 3 weeks then move your ass down here now. So the CEO came running down with the entire C-suits and asked what's so important. Then I piped up and said our whole department quit today and won't come back until this motherfucker of boss gets removed and fired. Then they asked what happens and we told them. They were mad and asked how they can fix it. I said fire him and hire a better fit. Because I held the most trainings and qualifications, they asked me, which I gladly said yes. So we took off to my new office with my old department and the CEO in tow. My boss saw me and said arrogantly, decided to came back and beg for your job back, you little R-word? Me, nah, just to inspect my new office, cause you are fired by now. He laughed and said that I am under him and only the CEO can fire him. So the CEO came around the little corner and said to my boss, get the fuck out of my company, you are fired, and I make sure that every company knows what you did. My ex-boss was white as a sheet. After that the CEO called the police and reported him trespassing. In the end I got a 70k raise and a bonus option, which I declined and asked if we can split it for my co-workers. I don't need that much money, 1 million euro worth of bonuses. My CEO agreed and everyone got their job back and we complete the audit without any fails. The customer was happy and so we are too. If you have questions I will answer them in the commands.